Anthony,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine, man. How are you?
Beautiful. Let me shut this door.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute. I expected like a 80-year-old guy. What's going on here?
No, I'm not an 80-year-old man. You know, I'm probably one of the most unconventional number one reporters, I guess you could say. I don't like that term reporter. That sounds so weird. Probably one of the most unconventional millennial conservatives out there.
A unicorn.
Yeah. I'm a staff writer, with law enforcement today. And, whenever folks, interact with our organization, like from the outside and not really have an understanding what we do, they think we're like this big, media organization that's just like, obey the law no matter what. And that has nothing to do with it. I mean, yes, obviously obey common sense laws. But, when we're dealing with the shenanigans in terms of, constant attacks on the Second Amendment and obviously the COVID idiocy is what I like to call it. I know you've got a pretty unique term for it as well.
Yes, I do.
No, I've been keeping up with your stuff for a while. We've been connected on LinkedIn for some time, but I know you've got, a myriad of followers on there, or you had. What happened on LinkedIn? When did that transpire?
So Tuesday, I attended an open New Jersey rally. And before I left for the rally, I posted a video across all of my social media platforms, and I held up a copy of the Constitution, and I said, this is my papers to be able to travel freely throughout the country. And when I said, these are my papers, I did it like with a German accent, like the Nazis checking papers. And I posted it on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And then when I got to the rally, I posted a video at the rally, and then I posted a video after the rally chastising people that not enough people showed up. And when I woke up Wednesday morning, my LinkedIn account was suspended with no further information. My Twitter account was locked down. All 3 videos were removed from YouTube, all my Facebook platforms, and my LinkedIn platform. And I had numerous emails from the masters of the universe telling me that I committed a crime by violating executive orders, and which is breaking the law, which is an executive order is not the law. And I was also told that I was endangering people by advocating, meeting up in groups and at a rally.
Yeah, so this is the strange thing that's been ongoing lately. It wasn't but 5-6 months ago that I had folks that were centrists, left of center, far left. They would call me a bootlicker because of the content that I would write. And I don't really consider, anything that I write really that radical. I'm a constitutional conservative. It's, common sense. But all of a sudden, these are now the same group of folks that are clamoring, stay home, save lives. I mean, it sounds as though they've been, coded in C++, and they're doing a run script right now, and they have some encoded messages they got to rifle off the moment that you say anything that is dissident.
You realize that those people that are attacking you for me too, that we need to stay home, those are people that are still drawing a salary. Those are government workers, union workers, are essential workers. I believe we're all essential workers if we pay taxes and contribute to the economy. I get called a bootlicker at least weekly. I have 45 police departments that qualify in my range, and I'm told that I should throw all of the police departments out, not let them qualify because I'm a bootlicker. So, but I'm a capitalist. And I'm not a constitutionalist anymore. Now I'm more of a libertarian leaning towards anarchy.
Might as well at this point.
Yes. I believe our government's too big, too bloated, and too involved in our day-to-day activities. Like with these lockdowns and reporting people with not, for violating social distancing and stuff. We all need to get back to work. I have 70 employees at my range. For the first 4 weeks of lockdown, 35 were still not able to get onto the New Jersey unemployment server. I was carrying them personally. It's week 7 now, and I still have 10 employees in 7 weeks that have not received a dollar from our unemployment server. So when our governor and our elected officials tell me we're all in this together, I say bullshit. Stop taking a salary and go on the unemployment server, you and your bloated staff, and then tell me we're all in this together. I have people that make $40,000, $50,000 a year. They have not gotten a check from the government. They've paid into this unemployment system for 30 years without question, and now it's a pandemic out there, and they want their money, and they can't get their money that they paid into. It's not free money. We all pay into unemployment insurance. So yes, I'm aggravated. I'm frustrated.
Yeah, no, I'd say, and I know this is, and again, I'm not, for lack of a better term, I'm not the orthodox content curator, journalist, whatever. I agree with you. I know I'm not supposed to, but I wholeheartedly agree with you. It is utter lunacy. It's the COVID idiocy, pandemic. I loved that. Speaking of which, you mentioned the Facebook Live videos and the YouTube stuff. Boy, oh boy, has Google been doing an amazing job trying to make all the fecal matter levied against you rise to the top of search results, and anything that is remotely generous or just neutral, it's buried. And
yes,
so I noticed recently, Media Matters.
Yes.
Dug into you. There was an article written by Sydney Hargis. She or possibly he, based upon the jawline that I saw, I'm not quite sure, was astounded at your Facebook Live video that was encouraging folks to come out and protest, which last time I checked, that was everybody's right to protest. I mean, are we getting to the point where I made a comment to you the other day with regard to Rosa Parks? If Facebook Live was available today or in those days, and somebody was filming Rosa Parks and somebody was saying, sit down and save lives, or get out from your seat. It seems like we're in those times. I mean, what are your thoughts on, number one, the faux outrage from places like Media Matters that are astounded that you told people to protest, and then people mad at exercising their right to protest?
And those are people that, again, overpaid, bloated journalists, for lack of a better term. It's all clickbait. I look at it all as clickbait. They attack me for everything. I've been attacked for tweets I've come out against with radical Islam, but they've never, when I've attacked the Catholic Church and the Pope, they don't show those. They just show the stuff that's going to trigger the clickbait. I was told, I tweeted about I'm against New World Order and I'm against globalism. And I got a call from the New York Times. They were going to publish an article about me that I'm anti-Semitic. And I was like, well, okay, from what? They're like, well, you tweeted you're against New World Order and globalism. I'm like, I didn't know that was a Jewish thing. I just thought it was a globalist thing. They're like, well, people normally tie that to George Soros. I'm like, well, I really don't care who it's tied to. I just don't want it. I said to her, but thank you very much for telling me, because now I'm going to go home and tell my Jewish fiance that I'm anti-Semitic. I need to tell her that. But they never ran the article. But again, it's that pushing the limits for clickbait. And it's the fringes on both sides. That's why I get attacked from gun people, like the bootlicker term, because I donated 1,000 PPE masks to the police department, EMTs, and the ambulance squad in my town, because we use them to clean the range at night, and the range is closed. I get about 80% positive comments and 20% for people that I'm a bootlicker because I gave them away to the police department. So I'm used to it. I'm used to people like Media Matters, but really, how many people really follow Media Matters?
Exactly.
So, and those people are not my base. They're not my friends. I own a gun range in New Jersey. I'm the executive vice president of the State Association, Rifle Association. I'm still an NRA board member till the results come out. They're delayed because Deloitte & Touche, the accounting firm, is closed right now. But I'm a big target. So that means that all 76 board members are the same as me because of that one soundbite they got from me on Media Matters. I get that. And that just rolls off my shoulder because at the end of the day, I know who I am. My range has been open 8 years. We've donated over $400,000 to local charities and other businesses and stuff in and around town. I'm the benchmark when it comes to giving back because I believe in paying it forward. You'll never see any of those articles come up when you Google my name on the first 5 pages of your search, though. You will never see those. You have to dig really deep to see those. But I'm okay with that because when I go to bed at night, I know I'm not I'm none of the isms. I'm a capitalist. The only color I see is green. And as a libertarian, when somebody comes into my range, I don't care what you are, who you sleep with, where you're pierced, whatever it is, as long as your credit card says approved, you're safe and respectful, you're welcome into my family. So keep banging it on and trying to make me out to something I'm not. But the people in my circle, in the 60-mile radius of my range, and the people that know me and know who I touch and what I stand for, and I'm a huge believer in this experiment, this country. All 4 of my grandparents came here after World War II. I'm a mutt. I'm Jewish, Irish, German, Italian, Greek, Spanish, Portuguese, and Syrian. So I'm a mutt. And so when people say to me I'm anti-Semitic or I'm whatever, I do not lose any sleep over it, Greg, at night. I know what I'm doing is I'm doing good, and I'm educating many people, reaching out to people, especially in your age group, and trying to enlighten them because civics is not taught properly, and the founding of our country is not taught properly in schools anymore.
Exactly. And yeah, no, you managed, I don't know if you are a mind reader because you managed to touch on questions that I was going to ask because I was going to ask about, because I saw this horrendous article written by Nick Martin. It was called Hate at the NRA. It was just so doom and gloom. Like, I looked at it and I'm like, oh, what is this? And so, yeah, I noticed some hand-picked tweets, like from 2017. This was an article written in January of this year, and they had to go back in time. Like, they were Marty McFly. And they had to go back in time to 2017 to find some mildly, derogatory things with regard to paraphrasing Islam. But the irony of all this is you could have someone on Facebook or Twitter or whatever platform, and they can habitually defecate on Christianity, just as you mentioned. They could just scat all over it, and instead they'll be hit with a round of applause. You'll got somebody with the clap emoji saying, "Say it louder in the back," and I don't get it because Islam is a religion, just like Christianity is. And where do you think why is there that prevalent double standard? Why is it that Christianity can be shat on, but don't upset anybody associated with Islam? What is that?
And what those references to those tweets were, I was directing it at radical Islam from other tweets after terrorist attacks had happened. But of course, he wrote it that I attack all Muslims, right?
They always do that.
And I've attacked the Catholic Church over turning a blind eye to pedophilia and everything, but 10 times more than radical Islam, and it's never come up. But it's, again, because we're in that class, like white males, Christianity, and I'm not a practicing Catholic by any means, okay? I believe there's a God, so I'm more agnostic, to be honest with you. And I was a choir boy, altar boy, and everything as a kid. I went to parochial school, but I'm not big into organized religion. But I will attack General Electric just as much as radical Islam, just as much as the Pope in the Catholic Church. But again, if you're a white male in the United States, or if you're Catholic or Christian in the United States, then you're automatically evil, and you need to apologize for everything that's been done in this world for the past 5,000 years. Okay, and I only care about what happened from 1961 on, when I was born. What am I responsible since 1961? I have dated Muslim women. Like, I've gone into their house. My sister-in-law is Muslim, Turkish. My niece and nephew were raised as Muslim with my brother. I go to their house for Ramadan and everything. I'm the most accepting guy. Close friends are gay and everything. And I'm not saying that to garner any affection or love from anyone, but I'm a tolerant person. Again, as a libertarian, what you do in your home is your business. And I don't want to push it. Like, I don't go out and force people to buy guns. I don't force people to shoot guns. My business is open. You come in, you want to learn, we're here to teach you. Part of that teaching is the laws and the regulations and the rules and education that goes with it. It's not just a portal to come in and shoot. I want people to understand and people to get involved in the political process, because we have a two-party system in this country, us and them. The political
I like
class,
the way you characterize it. That's
and the unwashed masses. I've been saying for 30 years, D-R or I at the end of your name, they're all the same. It's about self-preservation. But the media has gone apoplectic now. They look for anything. They, going back 4 years on my tweets and grabbing them, that guy out there that wrote that article. And, I spoke to him on the phone. I said, why don't you come visit the range one day? Why don't you come in and see the type of people that shoot and meet me? And maybe if you want, shoot a gun. I've done this before with many media outlets, and it has worked, because I want to humanize us, because what they do to Christians is the same thing they do to us gun people. It's kind of like Nazi Germany. They're dehumanizing us. I had 2 African-American girls come shoot at my range one night, and I exit interview everybody. I asked them on the way out, did you have a good time? And the 2 girls were like, everybody was so nice. Everybody was so friendly. The bathrooms were so clean. I said, was it everything you expected? And this one girl said this. Think about this, Greg. She goes, your staff wasn't as fat as I thought they would be. So she was predisposed to think that we were all fat hillbillies with camouflage or flannel shirts and suspenders and big beards and, summer teeth, some over here, some over here. And at night we go have our KKK meetings or whatever. But, that in her mind, 40 years of the media narrative makes us out as all fat, ignorant, racist, sexist bubbas, which it's hard to break that ceiling when you have a range like mine that's 14 miles from New York City. If you visit my range on a Saturday or Sunday, it looks like a combination of the United Nations and Noah's Ark. And I don't care what color, what religion, what you are, you're welcome to come shoot. And I will come to your house and break bread with you and your family. But the media wants the masses to think that we're all the same. I don't know one white nationalist. I have a huge circle of people. I have millions of people shooting my range. In New Jersey, our governor said the number 1 threat in New Jersey is terrorism from white nationalism.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was, a little bit of background on me. One of the reasons that I get the bootlicker stuff outside of just the organization that I work with, I'm a reformed felon. I spent 5 years in prison in my youth, in my early 20s. And, when I got out, there was no love lost with regard to me in the law enforcement community. My family was in law enforcement, had a lot of friends that went down that path, and, God bless them for it. So when I got involved in the work that I do, and meeting with law enforcement officials and getting my check cut from a top cop, it gets the bootlicker stuff. And apparently it's not supposed to be the thoughts and ideology that I'm supposed to, subscribe to. Apparently I'm supposed to be hating the police. Apparently I'm supposed to love socialism, and I'm supposed to think I'm a victim. I haven't quite adopted any of those yet, but it's strange how if you go against the grain, if you look a particular way, they are automatically going to think, oh, you should fit in this particular box. And it works the opposite way, just as the experience you had with those customers, where they had an image of what this person should be. And they're like, hey, where's the Duck Dynasty folks that are mildly overweight? What gives with that? I mean, that is a little bit of that media bullshit that is feeding into that.
The media, they live in a bubble. They live in a protected environment. What they forget is you can't eat an iPhone app. Like to survive, you have to actually go out. There's people that have to dig ditches and plant seeds and drive trucks, all that menial stuff. And they tend to live in the coasts or these big cities. And I dated a girl a few years ago that lived in a city that was an alimony baby. Her ex-husband was a neurologist, and she got like $100,000 a month. her whole world revolved. The only time she left the house was to go to the gym and go out socializing. And, you know, our politics obviously were completely different, but I won her over on some stuff. But she had that same media aura about her, like, oh, you know, we live in the city, and I walk over to Central Park and I order lunch on Grubhub and I order dinner from Seamless, and tomorrow we're going to the plaza for drinks. They don't realize, go stand outside of a dollar store. The media should go stand outside of a dollar store for an hour and watch the people walking in and out that are struggling to make ends meet. People in our state haven't gotten unemployment for a long time. I was in ShopRite the other day. An elderly gentleman in front of me went to pay cash. He was $4 and change short. I took a $5 bill out. I paid it forward and I picked it up for him. The guy had tears in his eyes. He was telling the cashier he had no money left. Like, this was it. This is what he had. Did I ask that guy if he was a liberal? Did I ask him if he was a conservative? Did I ask him if he was Jewish, if he was one? I don't care. We're all in this together. But the media wants us all to think that, you know, before you come into my house, like you said, you were a felon for 5 years. I've been locked up 3 times. I was on probation. I lost all my firearms, everything. I went through the whole bit, and I got an expungement, and luckily I got a do-over, right? But I don't begrudge anybody. My philosophy is you paid your dues, and now you're equal to me. We all poop and bleed the same way. But we have this whole, you know, we have 3 tiers in the country now. The first tier is the political elites and the rich, repulsive socialists, the media and everybody who live in a different spectrum than us. And then the second tier, they pander to the criminal class and the illegals, right? And then which is their voting base. And then the third tier is the law-abiding, tax-paying citizens. And my philosophy in this country, as someone who grew up very poor, inner city, North New Jersey, is if you work and pay taxes just like me, I have the same level of respect for you. I don't care if you're a stockbroker. I don't care if you pump gas for a living every day. I can talk to you at whatever level I need to talk to you and respect you and ask you how your kids are doing and everything, because you do an honest day's work and you pay your taxes just like me, just like you paid your debt to society. But the media does not. The media thinks that we're all demons, or they don't know we're demons, but they want us to be portrayed as demons. And listen, I'm so used to being attacked, and getting on the NRA board ramped it up 100 notches, you know, because of, you know, the NRA it's the evil empire as far as the media is concerned. Meanwhile, we are the #1 supplier of safety and education in firearms in the world.
Yeah, so you were number 76, if I'm not mistaken, yes, for the NRA.
Correct.
So yeah, no, you did mention that there's a little bit of a standstill going on with regard to the election, because voting was transpiring in or around February of this year?
It ended, the last day for the ballots was March 29th. We usually find out right at the annual meeting around April 15th. The meeting was canceled, and Deloitte & Touche is a separate accounting firm in DC or Virginia that they print and collect all the ballots. They're closed right now. We had gotten a letter from the secretary's office beginning of March, April, May, early March, that it was going to be delayed because Deloitte & Touche has no one to tally the ballots. So we'll find out, because after we announce the winners, we have to have a members meeting to elect the 76th director and have members come in and ask questions and stuff before the whole board and the executives. So it's still up in the air right now, but our bylaws required us to do it. They had to make a change to the bylaws because of COVID. Not because of any, everybody's going to say, oh, it's boardroom antics, it's palace intrigue or something. People are so hateful. I read something that the NRA with annual meeting, when it was canceled, they were like, Wayne LaPierre probably had something to do with COVID. What those people fail to realize, that annual meeting we have every year is a huge moneymaker for the NRA. We host it. We have all of those vendors there. They have all these events and stuff. So the last thing the NRA wants is not to have its 149th annual meeting. So, but again, the attacks, you can't make stuff up. You know, you just can't make it up. And again, like I said, I know who I am and what I stand for. So I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing. I'm not going away.
So one thing that I really love that you're doing, is I believe, and please, feel free to admonish me if I don't say this correctly, the quarantine crawl.
Perfect.
Okay. So I noticed that you're hitting up a lot of local spots over in Jersey, trying to show some love to the smaller businesses that aren't reaping the benefits of the Walmarts and the Sam's Clubs and the Ralphs and all these large organizations that somehow you can't get COVID-19 at. But God forbid you go to a Beef of Brady's or something, all of a sudden your chicken wings are going to get you.
You can only get you can't get COVID from the big box companies that have lobbyists and corporate welfare, but you can only get COVID from the small businesses. So when we were closed, I'm a type A personality. I go from 7 in the morning till 12 at night, 7 days a week. I work at the range 84 hours a week. I had nothing to do, so I said, you know what? I'm going to start this. I'm going to start hitting all the businesses that I know that are pro 2A, that either are members of the range or shoot or support. And it started, and I'm up to about 50 businesses now, and I have about 30 more on my list. I'm getting contacted by people. So I go and I shoot a 1-minute video. Now, what I do is I order anonymously through Grubhub or Seamless or something. I'll use my girlfriend's name, and then I go pick up the food. And I do that because I want to pay. I want to over tip because these are people that are working very hard. I don't want them to think I'm doing it because I want a free lunch, you know? And it's amazing when I walk in, the owners or managers get real excited. They're like, oh my God, he's going to do his quarantine crawl video here. You know, why didn't you tell us it was you? We would have threw a pie in. We would have threw this in. I'm like, no, I didn't want, that was the purpose of this. I want to support you guys because when I was open, you and your wife and kids used to come and shoot in my range. So I want to do it for this. So it's blown up. And I posted on all the channels. None of those videos have been taken down yet, but the response has been phenomenal. The business owners are emailing and calling me. They're like, holy shit, 10 people came in Sunday and told us it was because of the quarantine crawl. They live 2 miles away. They didn't even know our bakery was here, this or that. So it's really good. When we open back up, it's going to be a page on the Gun for Hire website, not just the YouTube channel. There's going to be a page with a link to all the businesses so we can remember who stood together through this.
All right. No, I think that's amazing because, yeah, there's a lot of small businesses that are hurting right now, terribly. So one thing I recently did, I recently had a conversation with Mindy Robinson. She's running 3rd Congressional, 3rd District over in Nevada for a congressional seat. And this is more along the lines of what I call faux outrage or fake outrage. So I had the nerve to interview somebody that was running for Congress. I know, imagine that, a news org wanting to talk to a candidate. And I got hate mail from folks that are saying, oh my goodness, this woman showed her boobies in a movie years ago. I said, so? Still running for Congress. What's your take on faux outrage and how that adversely affects certain personalities from getting their message out there to the point where it silences people, kind of like you, with regard to LinkedIn? Because it all kind of stems from, when I look at it, it seems to all come back to the faux outrage. Do you think that's the link?
I think faux outrage is like, what did Thomas Paine say? Arguing with someone that is dumb is like administering medicine to the dead. Okay? Arguing with a stupid person is like administering medicine to the dead, because the faux outrage is when they get to a point where they don't have any argument anymore. I see that all the time with people that lean left. They'll just, listen, you fat thing, you just shut up. I'm like, really? Is that the argument? I'm posting on the governor's Facebook page as a constituent my real name, my real profile, and what I feel. And this person, whose name is Alf Simpson the 15th or something, posts and calls me fat and stupid. Beautiful. That just shows me you have no argument in this deal. So I've walked in your shoes. I had the most anti-gun state senator come into my range and do a 1-hour show on Gun for Hire Radio. This is the woman that passed Gun a Month. This is the Loretta Weinberg. She passed the 10-round magazine. This was all of hers. She's a big Bloomberg person. I got attacked by gun people. Why would you have her in the range? Well, I'll tell you something. I had her on the range because I wanted to humanize us. I wanted her to see the husbands and the wives and the kids and the people safely and responsible shooting, because she had never been in a gun range before. She only had a perception that we were all those overweight bubbas or whatever. And you know something? She hasn't come out and attacked me, and she hasn't sponsored any anti-gun legislation since I've had her on my show. But yet the gun people attacked me for having her in my range and on the show. And the remarks, I had to get rid of them because she was on the post. I hope she dies, this thing, you know, anti-Semitic stuff and stuff. I'm like, these are gun people. Come on, guys. You know, stop it. Stop it. We have to do something, because what we've been doing is not working. We dig in our heels, the pro-gun people, the anti-gun people dig in their heels, and nothing happens. Maybe we can have some dialogue. Neither one of us want to move an inch. But again, it always falls down to that fake outrage. Always, because that means they're unarmed. They have no more bullets in their magazine to shoot. So now it's that we have to do the personal attacks.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a really good, endeavor to embark upon. Is what's the point of, constructive dialogue if we're not trying to, achieve compromise or get people over to our proverbial side of the fence, or to understand our perspective? It is a strange thing. We've engaged in so much tribalism with regard to particular stances, that the moment that somebody was on the other side of the fence and they start edging their way over, all of a sudden you have the folks on the other side of the tribe say, hey, they're not supposed to be here because they had X, Y, and Z view back in the day. And so we're really achieving nothing. Whenever you take a step forward, you have, 100 people behind you that are chanting for them to take a step back. How do we combat that, or how do we move beyond that?
A, by continuing doing what you're doing and reaching across the aisle and getting people in. And B, educating as many people as possible. Obviously, these platforms are great. I never say no to any type of kids shooting event in my range. I let the scouts all qualify for their badges. I let the Girl Scouts sell cookies in my lobby twice a year, and we sell the most cookies. I bought 100 boxes last year, and I had them shipped to our troops overseas. A lot of people don't know you can do that. But why do I do that? Because there's 12 Girl Scouts in the front of my range with their parents selling cookies, and their aunts and uncles are coming to the range to show their support. And these are people that have never been in a gun range before. And there I am as the ambassador, reeling them in and showing them around, and ultimately changing that narrative. We have a hard fight against us because the media is such a strong structure out there. The only way we can do it is at a grassroots level. Speaking, again, podcasts, Zoom meetings, or whatever. I've had so many people come to me in the past. I've owned Gun for Hire since 1992. It's 28 years. I've had the range for 8 years. I've had so many people come to me and say, you inspired me. I joined this organization. I read, I posted during the pandemic required reading, because like 1984 is now available in nonfiction, as well as Animal Farm. I believe, yes, I believe.
There's not a lot of people my age that actually read those books.
Correct. But when I was a kid, it was required reading. I'm 59 years old. It's not required reading anymore. Atlas Shrugged, the Creature from Jekyll Island. And it's amazing because I did a live and I talked about these books, and I got a ton of emails and messages from people. Can you put that list out? So I made a list and I posted it, and I got a lot of play off of it. And now I'm getting feedback from people. I read this, unbelievable. I can't believe, I want everybody to read the Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire, because history repeats itself and people tend to not learn from history. So the only way we're going to do it is at the grassroots, changing the narrative and keep pulling people in a little bit at a time. I'm overwhelmed. We're closed 6 weeks. I must have received $100,000 in people buying gift cards and renewing memberships that don't expire yet to help support the range while I was closed. And people are like, I would do it every day if I could afford it, because you do so much for us in the Second Amendment community, and you've taught us so much, and you're always there for us. And it's humbling because I never see that end. You take that for granted. But when people reach out and send you an email like that, it's like, wow, I guess I really am making a difference. But I don't look at it that way. I just keep forging ahead, thinking about it as it's my own cause. but yet I have this whole flock that I've managed to educate and bring to the next level. So it's phenomenal to be at that point. And it's hard for us because we're in a blue state where we have a super majority in the Assembly and the Senate and our governor. So, you know, all we have now is the Third Circuit in the Supreme Court. So it's very frustrating for us in New Jersey. But when you have, and I've been called a racist for this statement, Greg, we have more takers than makers in New Jersey. And and when I mean takers, I mean not only unemployment and welfare, I'm talking about government workers and union workers and teachers, people that need to support that Democratic Party, because they're never going to vote a law to lower their pension or pay more towards their health insurance like we have to, or anything else like that. So I bundle all those takers into one area, including retired people on pensions and stuff, because they don't want to lose any money. And right away, I've been called a racist because I say makers and takers. So we're outnumbered in our state, and as are many Democratic states. So it's tough for us in New Jersey. Fighting gun and civil rights violations, just holding the line is considered a win for us.
Yeah, and that's so strange to be, you know, called a racist for making a statement based in economic observation. You know, I'm a huge fan of Thomas Sowell, one of my
Me
favorite.
too.
And it just boils down to this, you know, either you're generating wealth. People often correlate wealth to money, and money is just a representation of what you've actually brought to the table, the tangible thing that you've done. There's people who generate it, make it, and enrich everybody's lives around them. And then there are folks that are like, hey, how can I get my hand in the honeypot? So there's nothing wrong with characterizing and segmenting two portions of the populations as makers and takers, because that's literally every economy is built on that structure. You know, the takers will figure out unique ways to take your money and spend it, and then tell you that it's a good idea. And the makers will just like, okay, well, I guess I'll just put together this iPhone. So let me ask you this. You know, a good closing. You know, I'm talking about, like, you know, this is soundbite material. You know what I mean? This is the bait. What is the one thing that you would say to someone that is adamantly against the Second Amendment, guns, anything? They're just scared to death of bullets. What is the one thing that you would tell them if you had their ears for 20 to 30 seconds to change their mind?
So if you were a kid and your parents told you to list what you wanted for Christmas or Hanukkah, and you had to make a list of 5 things, you would list the most important thing, like a bicycle, number 1, and a catcher's mitt, number 2. The Second Amendment is number 2 for a reason, because when this country cut the chains from King George, they had to fight tyranny from the government. And the Second Amendment was not designed for hunting. It's for you to protect yourself and your family from criminals and government tyranny. Everyone should learn how to use a gun and shoot a gun, because like a fire extinguisher, you should have it and hope you never have to use it. But if you have to use it, you're going to be glad you have it.
Whew. I love how you pointed out the fire extinguisher. Now, Anthony, let me ask you this. You know, because I don't know a copious amount about your personal life. I just know you're a hell of a social media personality, and obviously a pretty cool guy as well. What I typically do whenever I finish up any kind of interview, whether it's, you know, this live cast stuff, this is kind of a new thing for me. Usually I like to do it in person, but, well, number one, you're in Jersey, I'm in Arizona. But I always end with a drink. I don't know if you're much of a drinker guy, but
I got a water on me right now.
so,
I don't drink.
Oh, well, I do. So
you don't want me drinking.
Well, sir, I want to thank you again for giving me, I'm a relative nobody. I'm just Greg. But, you know, I'm a huge supporter, and I want to get your story out there, and more positive stories, the more humanizing stories with regard to the people that have just been, you know, shat all over. I mean, you're a hell of a guy. Obviously, you got nominated number 76 in the NRA for a reason. They don't just pick people out of a hat. You know your stuff. You know your stuff. You know what you're doing, and you're fighting the good fight. And so I appreciate what you're doing for the Second Amendment, even if I can't have a gun.
No expungement for you? It was federal?
Yeah, it's Arizona. If you get in trouble for what they consider a dangerous crime, they do not give you back the gun rights, which I'm actually okay with that. I think it is a fair law.
Okay. If you ever move to New Jersey, we can get that expunged.
Oh, let me know when they lower the prices for rent.
Forget it. Forget it. Keep doing what you're doing.
All right. Well, thank you once again. Thank you once again for the interview. And you know, I don't know. Maybe you can have me on Gun for Hire Radio sometime.
I will. I will definitely have you on. How far are you from Tucson?
About an hour away.
Okay, because I go to Tucson to see my buddy Todd Raffner all the time, so we'll be talking.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. Well,
How's
you
that?
take care. You enjoy your evening.
You too, Greg. Thank you so much. Be safe.
Bye.